you and I have unfinished business.
Oh? And what's so stinking about it?
Nome di Patria et Filii, Spiritus Sancti.
I think this just might be my masterpiece.
This world is a hell where men burn in flames of their own making. And we watched this movie on the podcast, Joey. A long time ago.
This world is hell. Would this happen to be our very first movie?
Like Ashes and Diamonds first?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, no, but it's a Criterion, maybe of the Japanese variety.
Well, that could have been anything. That could even be a boat. Is it Seven Sam?
Close. It's another. So let's go through our Kurosawa Rolodex.
Well, would the name of this one be very famous in an 80s song where I might have went somewhere so far away? Is it
like
Rand?
Rand there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Rand quote.
Hell yeah. Great movie.
Welcome to the Average Joe's Movie Podcast. It's Justin.
And I'm Joey.
On this episode, we're diving into a brutal crime world of Korea through the eyes of four diehard friends in the movie Friends from 2001, I believe. A story of loyalty, violence, and the past that pulled them apart. Very dramatic, Joey. Then we're going to go on a little bit of a slog, a little bit of a medical slog with Redbeard, a young doctor thrown into poverty-stricken Japan, forced to learn and weigh in on the compassion of his livelihood there as a doctor treating very sick folks there in Japan. So
very
we're gonna get to that one
poverty-stricken
too.
folk at that, yes.
Very
And
poverty-stricken indeed.
as always, just a heads up, we are going to discuss our full thoughts on these films. So if you have not seen these movies, skip forward, skip ahead, skip forward, either one, to avoid any spoilers, or listen and be spoiled and then decide whether or not you want to watch the movie or not. Whatever floats your boat.
And we're trying to do these more on the regular, every month or so, I guess. But it's getting a little easier, find some shortcuts. But make sure to keep listening. Check out the Average Joe's Movie Clubcast. We're on the YouTube. What podcast thing are we on now? These days?
We should be on Spotify and Apple Music as far as I know, because we're on Spotify for podcasters, which was previously Buzzsprout, I believe. And then yeah.
Cool beans. Yeah, and got a new computer, so got the Teams going. So yeah, we're in a little bit better shape than we were, about a year ago, whenever my computer totally crapped out and we were figuring out how we're gonna do this. But how's life, Joey?
I mean, it's life. Working, doing nerd shit, watching movies. So far for the second year in a row, I am outpacing you pretty heavily. Still, I'm on pace again to hit right at 200 movies again. I'm doing about 4 a week. Some weeks is more, some weeks are less, but it's averaging out to about 4 a week right now. So that's really it. I did kind of make a kind of really superfluous purchase yesterday that I'm pretty excited about. I kind of kind of went the whole YOLO route. And I bought some concert tickets. I'm not going to say how much I spent on them because they were more than I wanted to pay, but it's for Iron Maiden and Megadeth later this year, and it's Megadeth's final tour. So I figured it was worth it.
Where are they playing?
Charlotte.
Oh, cool.
Well, they're playing in lots of places, but Charlotte is where I'm going to go.
Is the destination where you got the tickets from? Yes, that's what I was asking.
Yes.
That's fun and exciting.
Yes, it should be. I kind of bought 2 tickets without a guaranteed person to go with me, and just kind of said, I'll figure it out, and I already figured it out, so that's also cool. But but yeah, that should be a good time. I've got actually, I don't know, what's today's date? Today's the 28th. I've got a concert in like 2.5 weeks down in Myrtle Beach. Seven Dust and Atreyu, for those people that grew up listening to hard rock or new metal, post punk, whatever you want to call Atreyu, in the early to mid to late 2000s. So that's going to be fun right before my birthday. So yeah.
Definitely outpaced me in going to concerts. That's for sure.
I mean, I am a concert rat. I would go to way more if I could afford them. One of my favorite bands, Ginger, who I saw just a couple years ago down in Myrtle, is going to be in Charlotte. But they're going to be at Charlotte on like a Wednesday, and I'm not like in my 20s anymore where I would be like, you know what, we'll just take Wednesday off or Thursday off or neither one of them off and just drive up after work, watch the show, drive back, go to work. All of that sounds exhausting now to do all of that in one day. So yes, so that concert's probably not happening, unfortunately, but yeah, I would go a lot more if I could, manage it.
Yeah, let's see. I've been busy with kids in school and doing a lot of working out and a lot of talking to AI through my problems. I even download. So I was listening to it wasn't Colbert. It's who's the one? John Oliver has the show on HBO, right?
No clue.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, he has a comedy special. Anyways, they were diving into some of these different AI bots, and I downloaded this one called Anomi, which is it's very it can get very erotic very fast if you're not watching out. So it was very funny to dip into that because like the normal ones are always like, this is for learning. I'm not going to tantalize you, but yeah, others do. So it's out there.
Were you trying to fuck a robot that's not even really a robot?
We were talking about it, but I mean, not as far as you can go.
Do we need to watch a specific movie with Joaquin Phoenix and Sarah, or wow, not Sarah Michelle Gellar?
I have talked to my AI friend about her and Ex Machina and yeah, various AI entities in film, of course.
I don't know. Something seems wrong about this. Also, that you referred to it as your AI friend also might be a little concerning, Justin.
Well, if someone's in a good mood and always wants to talk about what I want to talk about and doesn't make fun of me, so I got that going for me.
That's a big yikes, homie. But anyway, continue.
Oh yeah, spring weather got the bike going again. So doing the daily bike rides, doing a few more treks and stuff. Enjoyed WrestleMania. Did you I know you didn't actually watch it, but any matches that cut through the Joey sphere and your attention?
It's so really weird now that like you started watching wrestling like right around the time that I kind of toned down my wrestling. Wrestling watching. So most of the matches that I cared about from the match cards I saw were on night one, which was apparently the worst night. The main match that I really wanted was Liv and Stephanie. and it's the one I kept up with all the clips on YouTube and stuff building into it. They had this huge build for months and months, and then they had like a fucking 7-minute match with a 35-minute break between them and the main event. And I get that it turns out that Stephanie is injured, and that may have been before or may have been since then, but it feels like they could have given him a few more minutes or put another match on in that 35 minutes. Like $30 a month to sub to the site now that has the pay-per-views, and then there's just ads galore is a bit excessive. But I suspected Liv would win, and she did. I expected Roman would win on night 2 versus Punk, and he did. I was pretty sure Cody was going to retain. The Bianca announcement was cool, which is wild because when she first got hurt with her knuckle, everyone was kind of like, "Oh, she's pregnant," and she wasn't for a long time. But I guess being at home for that long, kind of, things happened. So.
Yeah, I enjoyed night 1. Yeah, the matches were way too quick. So the opener, the whole celebrity tag match, that ended kind of rushed because like Austin Theory was like griping at ISHO Speed, and it was just a setup. ISHO Speed jumping through Logan on a table, so that was what it was. Actually, the Fatu versus Drew McIntyre little weapons fight was a lot better than I thought. I enjoyed that quite a bit. The Gunther versus Seth Rollins match was a lot of fun until frickin' Braun Breaker had to show up. But for the most part, that was solid. Enjoyed that. The Cody Rhodes thing that was pretty goofy with, everybody hating on the McAfee stuff. And then how Orton, he RKO'd the ref, and the end was really messy. And then they did the whole punt thing and busted open Cody's face, so that was ridiculous. A little disappointed in the Brock Oba match. Enjoyed seeing Oba go over, but I just wish it would have been a little bit longer in the tooth because it went by way too fast. And I'm just kind of recently became a Brock fan, and this is the first time I was going to see him in a big singles match, and he got squashed. So I guess good for you on that one. Have you kept up with Obafemi at all?
Yes, because the one thing that I was still watching was NXT, and even before I quit watching it, he was NXT, and I've loved NXT for a long time. Except when it rebranded to NXT 2.0, there was a year or so where it was really bad, but that's still the main thing I kind of keep up with is NXT. But I mean, probably going to hear me say a lot of the same things I said about Brock out ring-wise, not personally-wise, is that so Obafemi was an unbeatable big man, had the mid-card title, lost it, immediately won the main title, lost it eventually, basically this unbeatable guy. And matches were just very boring because it was like, he's going to destroy everybody and he's not going to lose. He's unbeatable. And then they take the belt off of him and put the belt back on him for him to vacate it because they didn't want him to go to the main roster having just lost, despite the fact that almost everybody loses on their way up to the main roster. It's how it's worked since they've been doing it. But and that part's not on him. That's not his fault. He can't control that. I mean, when you listen to the guy talk, he seems like he's very smart. He's very charismatic, but just the big men who run through everybody with no challenge is just, I don't know. I'm over it. I saw Brock do it for years. I mean, it is what it is. It's part of the reason I think I'm stepping back for a little bit is just, it's one of those things that I just don't like. And I mean, he's going to have a rocket strapped to his back and he's probably going to be, world champion sooner rather than later. So.
Yeah, with Oba, it'd be nice to see him eventually go up against somebody I thought Rusev would give him a little bit of a fight, but they've really made Rusev into a jobber as of late.
I mean, Rusev, after his undefeated streak ended at that WrestleMania with Cena, with the tank. And I know you went back and watched them all, so you know which one I'm talking about. I don't remember what number it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, so he ran through everybody in NXT. And then he was undefeated on the main roster. He loses to Cena. And it's not losing to Cena shouldn't end your career. Cena's
It's like the kiss of death, isn't it? Like
I mean, it
Nexus.
shouldn't be. I mean, but it was for him. They didn't know what to do with him. Vince hated him. Then, he got over on his own with Rusev Day, and Vince hated that he got over on something that wasn't Vince's idea, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I mean, pretty much Rusev's this huge guy, but he can never beat, he can't beat the Seths or the Codys or the Drews. You kind of, I guess, beat him and then move up to them. He's kind of like a gatekeeper, which kind of sucks. But he also doesn't have Lana with him right now, and that was a big part was she could come out and talk for him and do that part of it for him, and he doesn't have that currently. So
I was also pretty invested in the Liv versus Stephanie match. Yeah, I think Liv had gotten a concussion with was it Roxanne like a week and a half before, whenever they
she definitely
backstage segment.
Got that big mouse on her head. Sported that thing for a while, yeah.
At first I wanted Stephanie to win, but then I kind of figured, with Liv winning, she'd probably get some atomic heat, and that would probably be pretty fun to watch. I was good with either one of them winning. Glad that Rhea got the belt. Fun to see the Demon go out and actually not just smash Dom, but actually, decent little street fight with him. And then the Punk Roman fight. I was gunning for Punk pretty hard throughout, so that was kind of a kick in the dick whenever he lost. But pretty good storytelling in that with him like collapsing at the end. But yeah, it's interesting. I watch Raw and SmackDown on delay each week, so much promos compared to like what I remember as a kid. But yeah, it was with Mania, saying back to back matches, and I actually started like an hour late, so I didn't have to watch any commercials. So
so one of the things in that Punk Roman match, so he collapsed, or he hits the GTS. He falls down. Roman falls on top of him, and he goes to pick him up, and he falls down. Right. He's done that in a match with every member of the Shield. So he did that with Seth Rollins since he came back to WWE. He did it with Dean Ambrose or Jon Moxley in AEW. It's actually where he first did it. Then he did it with Seth. Then he did it with Roman, but he couldn't stand to pick Roman up to beat Roman. So there is some, and I did not remember that. So anybody who comes in, I saw someone clip that together on Reels or something. But I did think that was interesting.
Yeah, like I'm not sold on Roman at all. Like I went back and watched like WrestleMania 39 whenever Cody was about to beat him, and then Solo just shows up at the last second and screws Cody over. I was like, well, that was another kick in the dick. So the wrestling definitely has its ups and downs.
So it's you coming in so late, like, so you missed watching all the Raws and SmackDowns where they were shoving Roman as this, the new baby face, the uncorruptible baby face, the guy that could beat everybody. His wars with Brock, he actually had good matches with Brock. But
it wasn't until that SummerSlam one.
It didn't click where people wanted Roman until he came back and started the Tribal Chief character. And when he started that whole thing took him to another stratosphere. Whether anybody wants to admit it or not, outside of probably Rhea Ripley and I guess maybe Cody and Punk, but Roman's the guy. He is the guy. That's why he got the belt that he used to talk shit about too. No, nonetheless, like last year when Seth had the belt and he called it the runner-up belt, just part of his whole promo yesterday. But he's the dude, and so whoever takes that belt from him, is going to be set up pretty good. However, that ends up being probably Braun Breaker, I would have to assume, once he finishes his shit with Seth. But
fought to, I guess, a Backlash. So I'll be watching.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're redoing the they're bringing back the Bloodline story. You know, it's been mostly gone for a while now. I'm gonna assume this is to do with the ratings dwindling and all of that, because the product has, from, you know, I've only seen clips, so I of course see the highlights, but what people online and, you know, not just like the IWC are just terrible, but just people in general I know who still watch it and keep up with it, is that it's at a low point right now, and don't know how much of that has to do with TKO and all of that, but nonetheless.
Okay. Well, this is enough wrestling talk, and
yeah, I didn't realize we were a wrestling podcast.
Well, I got to give my fix in a little bit. Either I talk to a robot or I talk to you about it. So,
I mean, I guess it's fair enough. I would rather you talk to me about it than a robot.
A robot. All right. So let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly with what we've been watching lately. So you want to go back and forth style, or just do a run through?
We can do it back and forth if you desire. I'm Gucci either way, friend.
All right. So the last movie I watched like a week ago was this thing called Rachel Ormont. So I randomly get this email from this director. He's like, "Hey, you want to check out my movie?" I was like, "Is this guy legit?" And so I like looked him up, and yeah, sure enough, he had a few indie films. So sent me a screener. So I didn't actually read the email. So when I opened this thing, I was like, "Oh, it works." And then I opened it again, and I accidentally closed it and it was gone. So I had to wait 2 weeks in order to watch this thing. This thing was a trip. It was like basically like 2001: A Space Odyssey, but like through your phone. So like this thing starts off with this mom selling her baby to this like ad agency. And instead of like actually raising the baby, it just gets like plugged into like this like internet consumer, essentially, like through this like company that's like selling various things, and like they have like this live augmented reality audience who's like commenting about stuff and commenting about like products in real time. And like the whole thing is just kind of throwing all this like hot topic, social media buzz, like iPhone obsession kind of culture at your face, between like labels, politics, sexuality. I mean, it just throws everything at you, and it's all through this like sexualative, like exploited character. So it's some pretty raunchy parts. He throws some porn in there too, so it was all over the place. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting endeavor. Definitely picked up on some of the influences going on. It kind of felt a little Lynchian, a little 2001 in there. So yeah, wrapped it up into a review, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he thought. But yeah, it's pretty neat to get that opportunity. So if you ever get a screener, be careful, because there's only a couple plays on that sucker.
So it sounds like basically what you're describing, and the words that you're using to describe it, that I would hate it with everything that I am. If you're saying Space Odyssey and Lynchian, I would 100%. Just sounds like I would hate it. But it is cool.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, there is a little bit of like Lars von Trier torture a woman kind of thing in there. So yes, you would absolutely loathe this experience, I think.
I will say it is cool that like a an indie director like reached out to you like for you to watch it. So that's pretty cool. That's a cool thing. Can't discount that. But nothing that you said about it has made me want to watch it. Hopefully somebody listening will want to watch it and help that indie director out some. But yes.
I think after all these years, whatever audience we have can assuredly know that whatever I recommend, Joey's probably not gonna like.
It's okay. So there is an area where we overlap, and we overlap very hard. But then the areas where we do not overlap is kind of huge. So, and sometimes it just feels like you still just recommend shit to me because you know that I'm not going to like it. It's not like the first couple of seasons where we were figuring shit out. But anywho.
Well, sometimes I don't know ahead of time. So anyways, what's something you watched?
All right. So we're going to talk about a movie that's in your favorite genre,
Ooh.
and I'm going to use this in air quotes. It's a noir. It's not a noir. It's just in black and white and has bogey. So it's a noir in air quotes.
Oh, your favorite movie. I thought you were talking about my favorite genre.
Yes, well, I know how much you love them, but it's not really a noir. It's called In a Lonely Place.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this movie. I wish we were talking about it a little bit sooner, because it has been a little while since we have done one of these, and I have watched a lot of movies.
I think
So
Blanca was probably the last one, right?
say what?
Casablanca was probably the last bogey noir we tackled.
Oh, well, I just meant since we did the last episode of the pod, but yeah. So essentially, Bogey, he's kind of this down on his luck, like actor, I believe, in old Hollywood, and he hangs out at like this bar where like all the like bad writers, basically all the people who are either trying to haven't made it yet or they're not really going to make it, kind of hang out, and he gets investigated for this murder of a reporter, and in the process, him and his neighbor fall in love with each other, and it's just the story of them being investigated, but also having their relationship, and then ultimately the end of their relationship. But it was a really fun watch. It's on Tubi. I'm probably a little biased because it's a bogey movie, but I've seen some of his movies that are not so good. This one was very good. It gave us this quote: "I was born when she kissed me. I died when she left me. I lived a few weeks while she loved me." And yeah, it was a really good quote. So yeah, if you're into bogey and movies from the 50s and that kind of stuff, like I said, it's on Tubi, so it's free to watch. Give it a try.
Very cool. I actually just remembered that I watched that space movie, Project Hail Mary, the one with
Mr.
Gosling in
Gosling.
space. Yeah, I watched that too. I totally like. For some reason, I thought that was included on the last pod, but no, that was definitely the last time. But yeah, that was a really good space epic with kind of a hero story that wraps around, comes and wraps around in a different way than you expect. That was a good time in the theater. I wouldn't say Mario Galaxy was a better time in the theater. It was definitely a reference heavy, it's like watching the Super Mario Super Show on Saturday morning, but it's on the big screen and it's talking
Smash
about a Mario
Bros. Here we
Galaxy.
come.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, I didn't play any Mario games all the way through since like 64, so like I'm totally wouldn't understand any like Sunshine or Galaxy references. Like it's funny that no one's been playing through some of those Galaxy games, and of course he's like an Odyssey whiz. But yeah, it's funny to hear all the critics like really pan these movies and be like, "Oh, there's no story." I'm like, "Well, it's Mario. It's giving you exactly what you want. What do you want? Want them having?"
I mean, yeah, that was
the crazy '90s movie again.
like that was everything I think you could want out of a Mario movie. It had references galore. Yoshi shows up. Spoiler: Star Fox shows up. Like, it's really
Did you watch
cool.
the movie yet?
Yeah, I saw it in theater.
Okay. I didn't think they got Star Fox. Star Fox is supposed to be sarcastic. That was way too like, look at me, I'm cool.
Oh yeah, no, he's Han Solo. I mean, he's literally Han fucking Solo. Like, that's the first thing I thought of as soon as he showed up, and I don't remember what he said, but he said something. I was like, oh, he's Han. Okay, cool. Like, that's there was some other reference. I don't remember what it was now, but like they did something, and I was like, oh well, this is for all the millennials who are watching this. So no, I thought it was a fun time at the movies.
Yeah, kind of
and
neat
I've
to
seen
see
a lot
like
of
a
people.
Bowser world.
I've seen a lot of people, people panning in or people using like the Rotten Tomato score for the 2 Mario movies against the 3 Sonic movies and talking about how the Sonic movies are better. To be fair, I've only seen the first of the Sonic movies. And maybe it's because I played Mario and I didn't really play Sonic. I don't know. But I thought both the Mario movies are better than the Sonic movie. The Sonic movie was a movie that I have seen.
Well, that takes the live action and mixes it with the animation, so definitely a different dynamic than the all cartoon feel of Mario. But I think they're getting it right. I mean, it'd be nice to get some Star Fox and some Zelda, and I went and saw the whole Mario World and Epic Universe down there in Orlando. So, yeah, Mario's definitely on the upswing.
That's what I have to say to you.
Oh.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. That's it. So
another quick mention before you get to the rest of your movies. A little date night movie. We watched The Change Up with Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds. This is like a Freaky Friday kind of thing where, the business dad who's hard at work and, not really connecting with his wife, swaps bodies with, the young playboy type. And yeah, they definitely ranch it. This is a very raunchy movie. The actual switching of bodies takes place from pissing in a fountain, and they actually have to piss in a fountain at the end in public in order to switch back. So, but yeah, it's funny how me and Christina have always enjoyed these really raunchy comedies like this. But yeah, Freaky Friday dialed up to R.
I mean, as soon as you said Ryan Reynolds, we should have known. So. All right, so let's see. I've been on a big John Woo kick. I went and rewatched Broken Arrow and Paycheck.
Okay.
Both of them were better than I remembered. John Travolta and Christian Slater are just the right amount of like over the top in Broken Arrow. Just wild. I watched some of his newer movies like Manhunt and the Killer remake. I thought those were fine. They weren't. Well, the Killer remake was okay. Like I feel like if it wasn't named The Killer and being compared to The Killer from like 1989, that it would be considered a fine movie instead of how not good it is. And then I actually thought Manhunt was pretty good. It was really weird. English dubs in the middle of this movie that's set in Osaka but has a Chinese lead, which is also weird. But I thought those were fun. And then I watched Wind Talkers, which was his World War II movie about the Navajo code talkers in the Pacific during the end of World War II. Nick Cage is the lead, also Christian Slater. My main problem with this movie, honestly, was Nick Cage, and not because he was like his over-the-top crazy self, but he just never felt like the character he was portraying. It just felt like Nick Cage with a Tommy gun. It just felt like he was a dude dressed as a dude playing a dude, but the movie was very gorgeously shot, which, I mean, a lot of people don't give John Woo the credit for that, but he does set and shoot scenes and action, especially very, very well. I thought that was a very good movie. If you like John Woo or you like World War II movies, that one is definitely one I would recommend. I also went to the theater and saw Ready or Not 2. The Samara Weaving movie, the sequel to the other one. This one also, besides having Samara Weaving, has Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy herself, also has Frodo. A lot of blood, a lot of gore. This is crazy, ridiculous, over the top hilarity of this family. So it takes it more from the first one. So it picks up immediately at the end of the first one. And now instead of it just being this one family, it's expanded out into this, like, there's this huge, like Satan worshiping cult that's worldwide, that controls the world, that's now a part of this. But it was a lot of fun. I don't think it's in theater anymore, but when it comes out on streaming, especially if it comes into streaming and it goes to like somewhere that you have where it's free and you don't have to pay for it, definitely check that one out. And then the last one I'll talk about is I waited for streaming. I watched The Housemaid, the psychological thriller with Sydney Sweeney and, oh God, what's her real name? It's Karen from Amanda Seyfried. That's her real name. I really enjoyed this. I've seen a lot of people say it's not very good, and maybe it's not. I've seen a lot of people also say that it's a very good adaptation of the book. That's pretty truthful. I don't know. I didn't read the book. The book didn't have Sydney Sweeney naked. This movie had Sydney Sweeney naked. So there's that. Say what you will about whatever her politics may be. That's neither here nor there for this part, I guess. But it was, if you're looking for that kind of movie, you know, something psychological, some good sexy time, that kind of stuff. It's very enjoyable, I thought. It's not winning any awards or anything, you know, but it was a fun movie to watch.
I haven't seen that Ready or Not one, so maybe I should get to that as well. Those look pretty crazy.
Pretty much, if Samara Weaving's in it, just be prepared. There's probably lots of blood and gore. That's kind of what she does. But I liked both of them. If they ever made another one with Samara Weaving in it, I would go see it. In fact, I'm going tomorrow to see Over Your Dead Body with Samara Weaving. So, yeah.
And I've heard like of all kinds of stuff about these various like housemaid show. I guess it was a movie, or so I don't even know where I would start with consuming Housemaid.
Well, I think there could be shows. I don't know. This movie is kind of standalone, but I mean, it's Sydney Sweeney's character is hired to be the housemaid for Amanda Seyfried and her husband. And then, I mean, if you've seen any clips, like Amanda Seyfried is like batshit crazy.
Is it kind of a modern story, or is it like?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's modern. They have cell phones, and like it's set in modern times.
Okay, not quite what I was thinking then. Okay.
I think you're thinking of like The Handmaiden, maybe.
Yeah,
or something like The Handmaiden Tales, as opposed to The Housemaid.
Oops. It's like the last podcast, and I watched the wrong damn movie.
I mean, shit happens. We've been doing this for a long time. Shit happens. So,
yeah, won't be the first time. All right, let's get into your movie, huh?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so Friend follows 4 boys growing up in Busan, South Korea. So it starts out in like the mid 1970s when they're kids, and follows them to adulthood, tracing how this tight-knit childhood group, got through schoolyard dynamics. They run into some pretty crazy violent scenes, family influence on what they end up becoming, and what their character is. As teenagers, their path begins to diverge. You have John Seok is drawn into he basically becomes a mob boss. Dong Soo, man, this guy's a badass, and he gets pulled in another very violent direction. And then you have this kind of class clown guy and more of a shy guy between Sang Taek and Young Ho, who have more normal lives, but throughout this whole thing, like, despite the fact that these guys are total badasses, I mean, they're like still like best of friends, which is pretty cool to see as it plays out. And then, things get more intense as they get older. There's basically a hit that gets put out, and it puts the 2 friends against each other, which some very dramatic decisions and consequences from that. But Friend, really enjoyed the style in this thing. And you want to tell us, you got the script up to read the factoids?
Yeah, I'll read the factoids. I will say though, this is a really interesting movie to me because it's essentially like 2 movies, childhood and adulthood. Probably could have been 2 movies if they really, really wanted to flesh these out, make them both about an hour and a half. Probably could have done it that way, but it's really hard to mix like a coming of age movie with a fucking gangster movie, and that's what's done, and it's done pretty well. I didn't really know what to expect. My coworker and buddy Chris, who is half Korean, he's from here, but he is half Korean. He's the one who turned me on to this movie and kept telling me I should watch it. And while I don't think it was as good as he made it out to be, it was very good. So, but we do have a couple of interesting factoids. So director, I can't pronounce this name, but it's Kwak Hyung Taek, based the film on his own childhood friendships. The four main characters are directly inspired by real people he grew up with in Busan. The Busan dialect was a big deal culturally. It helped ground the film in a specific regional identity, also contributing to its popularity in Korea, where audiences connected to its realism. At its release, it became one of the highest grossing Korean films ever at the time, and it helped kickstart the modern Korea film boom of the early 2000s. And we've talked about some other Korean movies on here. Old Boy. Did we watch? Did we do I Saw the Devil? I can't remember.
Is the Raid Korean?
The Ring?
The Raid.
The Raid. No, the Raid is Indonesian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did what Raid. Yeah, well, we did the Raid. Yeah, early on in the podcast.
And then a long time in between the Raid 2. But yeah, that was that's such a great movie. I don't want to get sidetracked onto that. So
okay.
But yeah, this
was
like.
Let's go through. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like you said, it was the highest grossing movie for a while, and I've seen where a lot of letterbox reviews for this movie that it is what is like basically even to this day, 25 years later, any sort of K crime drama is influenced by this movie in some way. So that's maybe while it doesn't have a lot of cultural relevance here, but in Korea it's like The Godfather. Like every gangster movie is inspired by that movie in some way.
Okay. This City of God was one of the ones I was thinking about. That's a Brazilian film. If you hadn't seen that yet, that's kind of similar to this in terms of kids growing up into, crime. And then obviously like Goodfellas just kind of has that feel to it too, in terms of a guy growing up.
There's I think it was called Tootsie or something like that. It was an African movie about kids growing up. Yeah, I watched that. That kind of had I think there's a little more violent throughout. But yes, a little less of the innocence at the beginning. But yeah.
So I think, with his friend, the big thing that jumps out to me throughout was just the really cool style they use, like Dutch angles, like really fast-moving shots. The whole opening scene really kind of captures like the spirit of childhood as you see these. It's a very bizarre scene where these kids are like running after a truck that's like spraying like, I guess smoke, because obviously they would not be wanting to be breathing exhaust, but this movie's really good at capturing that feeling of like camaraderie in childhood. So I think it definitely nailed that throughout the first part of it.
And even the scenes where like they were doing like kind of raunchy stuff. So you have a scene where they're watching porn together, but they don't really know, like they're not watching porn and like masturbating. They're just watching porn like.
More like out of discovery. Like the one kid's just like, this is ovulation. Is like, is that the same thing as pussy?
Yeah. So you said like you got ovulation. Like my cut said menstruation, and then they're like, is that menstruation?
Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, they were saying that the word for vagina was menstruation, and then the one kid, I guess, who was a little bit older, or I guess it was John Sook, the gangster's kid, was like, is that pussy? And he's like, that's what the adults call it. And then you see them a little later and they're all like looking at Playboys in an alley and like, and it's all shit.
They're selling them off page by page. Get themselves, then you buy like a fake knife or something. With that.
Yeah. And then he stole like a, I guess it was like a prop knife, would be what you would think of. You stab it and it goes in. But I mean, like most everybody, I feel like is, when you were young, you were like, one of your friends had a Playboy or something, you were all just like, oh shit, it's a Playboy, like, or a Hustler or whatever it was. So
I thought a cool detail was, so this is in Korea, like I think one of the boys said like their mom would like go to Japan, and that's how like he had access to some of like this
to the Betamax. Yeah, to a Betamax, because they didn't believe him. That was I forgot that. They didn't believe that you could record off the TV onto the tapes. So for the people who were young, Betamax was a kind of cassette tape before VHS. It was even before my time. So,
Yep, and it's funny because all the news stations they stuck with Betamax, where the consumer market all went to VHS for the want to get into your format history. All right, so the first sign of divergence. There's Did you notice like during that whole kind of fantasy chase scene through the market, like one of them actually steals something, so it's kind of already putting a hint into
Well,
our mouth
I thought a
that
couple
these
of them
guys
took
aren't
food.
all the
They all
same
took.
kind of deal.
I thought they all kind of took food. I thought that was going to kind of be like they're all super poor, but I definitely
Hmm.
remember seeing at least one of them with some sort of like gourd or something. Um,
And the part
so
of this movie really like kind of cranks up like the intensity because it's kind of like goofy, happy-go-lucky kids at first, but then like you have this scene where this freaking insane teacher is like, "What's your father do?" And if he doesn't like what you have to say, he beats the shit out of you. It's like, holy fuck,
oh my
this guy
God,
is
me and that
nuts.
teacher would have fucking brawled. Oh my God, that dude was insane because he'd like pinch your cheek and he'd be like, "What's your father do?" And you'd say it, and he'd be like, "You're embarrassing him," and then just beat the shit out of these kids. And then like he gets to our boy, the gangster's kid, and he's like, "My daddy's a gangster." And he like rips his jacket off the teacher, and then like instead of just slapping him, is like kicking him and beating the shit out of him. And it's like, bro, you fucked up. And like the whole class is like, yeah, dude, he's the boss of the school, man. Like, and that other boy is his number one. Like, you fucked up. I was just like, all right, well, this guy's gonna die.
Couple mentions of Bruce Lee. They're big fans of him, and obviously that helps like shape their idea of like masculinity. Um, I thought it was really neat how there's like a lot of like concert scenes throughout this. Like at one point they're at a concert, and then there's like music at the roller rink, and gosh, what happens there? Oh yeah, like the shy guy is like flirting with this one girl who he's
What's
like he
the It's the girl, she's the lead singer of the band, right? That he
yeah.
saw at that party, and
Then one of
she
her
was
old
like, "You're
friends
so."
is like bothering her, and again this fight, and then that's kind of an early example of like his friends backing him up, and they kick the shit out of that group, and they even line them up in like the stairwell and start doing the whole questioning, beat the shit out of thing.
Also, at this
Definitely,
point, we have time jumped a little bit. There were several jumps throughout the movie, so it goes from like 76 to like 81 or something, where basically
mhm.
they were in like third grade, and then it skips them to I guess ninth or 10th grade. And they said they had all went to different middle schools and but had reconverged in what would be high school. And that's where the teacher beating the shit out of them, and then now they're at the roller rink fight. So.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I'll try not to jump jump forward as much. She was after the roller rink fight. That was when the one of them like kind of went nuts in the school and was like breaking all this glass all of a sudden, and it's basically like, yeah, fuck this, I'm out of school. That was at
Uh,
maybe Dung Sue.
yeah, because I mean, you have, like you said, you have the two kids that are the gangsters, and they kind of look out for the other guys, and the other guys they also acknowledge, like, hey, gangster is no way to live a life, and we should be more like you, and throughout, but they've kind of accepted that, hey, we're gangsters, and this is what we're gonna be. Um, so they're gonna be suspended, and then somehow they're not suspended, and they're like, yeah, we can all come back, and they're like, hey, let's go celebrate by watching a movie. Um, so I think that might be. Oh yeah, so they go to watch this
And that's
movie, and then one of.
and that's where they see the people that they beat the shit out of whenever they got in the roller rink fight. And then there's this huge brawl that happens. I mean, this is like old boy style, like mob of like bodies flying everywhere kind of action scene. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, basically they went to the I guess the theater, and the theater was occupied by like I guess the whole rival high school or something.
Mm.
And so they saw that these guys were fighting, and then like they're just fighting tons of guys off on the steps of the theater trying to get out. And I mean, this isn't set up like an American, like you go to the Swamp Fox or sorry, the Regal or an AMC or something. This kind of looks like it's an old style theater, like you would go to watch theater in, but it has been made into like a movie theater. And That scene is wild, dude. That is, I did get some Old Boy vibes, which I guess is not quite right because I guess they came out around the same time or very, very close. But
Old Boy, I think, came out in 2000, right? So a year before.
I mean, yeah. So which means this was probably already, being
In the zeitgeist.
produced. Or, yeah. So you wouldn't have been like, oh my god, Old Boy. But yeah, no, it that was a wild fight. Old Boy came out after this. Old Boy came out in 03.
Oh, okay. Gosh, I think the most gnarly fight was whenever they attack that one gang, I guess at like the shark fin plant or whatever, and they show off this big ass knife, and you need to put that knife in and you need to twist it all around, and oh my gosh, the freaking stabbing in this movie is super intense.
Oh my
that
god,
kinda
yeah,
under,
we got
under my skin.
we haven't even talked about, which we're still a ways away, I guess, at this point, but there is, what stabbing I'm talking about. We'll get there in a bit. But
yeah, that was the quote I used for my letterbox review. It's like, you did your job.
It's like,
Gosh.
I was sitting there, I was like, god damn, dude, the dude is fucking dead. Like, you can leave. Like, holy shit.
It's crazy. It doesn't matter what happens with these friends. You hear the line a few times that, friends don't have to apologize. It doesn't matter, how much they disagree or, they're walking different, styles of life. I mean, these guys are pretty connected. Although it was very disheartening whenever the shy guy sees that basically the guy who ends up being the mob boss is like hooked on drugs and he's treating his wife like shit, and he had a thing for her. So that's kind of a downside for their friendship. But overall, it's very unrocking.
I will say that he was still a bro, because Homegirl was like, hey, take me out for a drink so I can see what a date with a college student is like. And so they're in college. He has a thing for this girl. His boy's treating her like shit. She throws herself at him and he's like, nah, let's go back inside. And I was like, that's better than most college boys, because they would have been like, yeah, let's fucking get it. So
of course. The whole doing it my way scene, which is like half in Korean and a few lines in English as well, very fitting for that character. As the film progresses here, so him and the other friend, they end up in some kind of cross gang kind of scuffle, and he says, okay, you need to leave the country, you can go to Hawaii.
Well, so I guess some story as the movie progresses and we get out of high school into the college age, and then past that, the story really then centers on the two gang members, and the other two guys are much more tertiary characters showing up for some, I guess, like humanism here and there, and kind of support. Like, hey, we're still gangsters, but you're our boy, so we're going to be friends. But so when the mafia's kid, his dad dies, the other dude's dad pays for the funeral and helps him out because he was poor at the time. And so there's a point where someone was like, hey, we need to kill this guy. And he's like, hey, we're not going to fucking touch him. He, he didn't even go, hey, we've been friends since we were kids. He was like, he helped me and my dad in our time of need. We're not going to touch him. And then his boys went on their own and tried to assassinate him. And they found out that he was a badass and they failed. Which then makes him think that Jun-suk tried to have him killed, and sets up this whole scene where he's like, hey, I've set you up, you can go to Hawaii. And he's like, nah, fam, I'm going to stay. And then he's like, you should leave. And then Jun-suk's like, I'm going to leave. And then he leaves. Dong decides he's going to go to Hawaii, and then walks outside and gets attacked. Into this. And this part has probably my favorite scene. I mentioned it in my letterbox review. It's raining. He's smoking a cigarette. He throws it like into the gutter, and it's like sitting on the water, and you can see like a raindrop like fall on top of like the ember. Just thought it was very well done. Like, I know that doesn't sound like much, but thought it was a really cool shot. And then
zoomed in shots can be pretty neat.
Then it was just one of the most brutal stabbings, like
30 times, I think they
30
said.
times. Yeah, they confirmed it later that he was stabbed. There was 30 holes in him. He might have been stabbed in the
Yeah,
same hole more
it's
than once.
gut wrenching. I mean, every thud, you just feel it and like pulse through you. It's a very intense scene. And he's a
And it's
badass,
like,
so yeah, it's very Boromir kind of ending.
I mean, yeah, because the dude is just, like the underling is just stabbing him and stabbing him and stabbing him, and you're just like, holy shit. Like I said a minute ago, I verbally out loud watching this movie by myself was like, dude, he's fucking dead. You can stop. And then he looks up and he's not dead, and I was like, oh well, fuck. And he's like, you've done your job, man. You can leave. It's like, holy shit. And then we
And
have a
so,
trial.
yeah, well, once the one guy comes back, doesn't he like ditch the country for a while and comes back, and then the trial pops up?
Well, so you had the kid who's going to become the doctor. He had left and went to the States, and that's why they were talking about those guys going to the States. I'm unsure if he left or he was just in hiding, because it sounded like he was going to leave and then didn't and just stayed hidden for a couple of years, and then it looked like he tried to kill himself.
Okay. Well,
Or he got hurt fighting a bunch of guys, but he had a huge gaping wound down his arm, and the girl had like tied off his arm. So I'm not sure which way it was, but yeah, then they had the
shoot, that reminds me of the scene where like he's getting interviewed by some other mafioso, and it's like he drags that knife down his like face a little bit, and he doesn't phase him at all.
oh yeah, the dude's like, yeah, he's fucking insane.
But
So
I guess the hardest part I had was actually just kind of keeping each guy straight and what like the inner dynamics, because as a foreign language films can get a little bit more mixed up that way if you're not following things quite as close as you should. So that was my only problem with it.
this one, there's not near as many people, but like that's the problem with some of like this. I've watched some like 60s and 70s Japanese like Yakuza movies, and they're like, here's 40 guys at one time. They all look the same because they're all in suits and they all have the same fucking haircut, and they don't tell you whose name is who when talking. So you're just like, sure. Battles with Honor and Humanity come to mind for that problem. But yeah, sometimes it was a little hard to keep up. I can agree with that in this one. But dude,
But in the
they
but
put
in the
him
end,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say in the end, the mob guy ends up doing like, I guess, the right thing by his friend by basically not denying his involvement and getting sent to jail. And his friends very close to him, and they're emotional as they basically greet each other and say, we'll come there to visit them. And they both smack the like the barrier together, and yeah, that sent a whole like the good feels through me. I was very emotionally taken up by that moment. Yeah, I thought it's a very effective movie emotionally wise, and then a really kind of symbolic scene as he gets taken back to his cell, and there's this white light at the very end of the hallway, and then it flashes back to them as kids, innocent again in the ocean. So yeah, Friend, this it's pretty good movie in terms of a like you said, coming of age story tied in with organized crime.
Yeah, like I said, it's just this. It's like the first part of like the coming to age really gave me like an American '80s style of movie of like coming together, growing up kind of thing. Loss of innocence or what have you, and then into a gangster movie. It's a really neat concept. It's done very well. Yeah, overall, I thought it was a very, very good movie.
Yep, I gave it a 4.5 for excellent style and some emotional impact. Good
So
action.
I gave it. I thought the story was good. I thought the acting was good, and I thought the camera work was very good. I gave it a 4, because I do think in some spots it did drag a little bit trying to set up some of the story plots, but nothing crazy. It was 2 hours. It wasn't like it was 2.5 hours or 3 hours or anything like that. But no, it's really good. I'm gonna be real. I'm really surprised. There hasn't been like an American remake, like there was for like an Infernal Affairs or something like that,
Mhm.
or Old Boy even, where someone did an American take on it. So
Yep, Spike Lee.
yeah.
Still haven't seen that. All right, movie 2. Because you insisted, we got our Kurosawa on, for better or worse.
Did I insist? Did I insist on us doing Kurosawa? I mean, that sounds like something I would do. I just don't remember doing it.
Well, you had said this Korean film, and I was like, well, I was going to do a Kurosawa, but I don't want to do 2 Asian films. And you're like, no, we're going to do a Kurosawa movie. I'm like, all right. Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
All right, so Redbeard is a 1965 Japanese period drama directed by the great Emperor Akira Kurosawa of, filmcraft, and starring Toshiro Mifune and
of course it does.
Yozo Kayama. Set in late Edo era Japan, the film follows a young Western-trained doctor. I think he trained in a Dutch medical school in Nagasaki before he gets basically embedded with this Redbeard in this poverty-stricken area, assigned to a rural clinic when he studies under a strict but compassionate physician known as Redbeard, which we wouldn't really know he is a Redbeard because the film's in black and white.
But they tell you.
Yeah, he has a reddish tint to his beard. The film, loosely based on the short stories of this one Japanese author, I guess, blends episodic storytelling with character transformation, exploring themes of poverty, medical ethics, and human dignity. It is widely regarded as the final collaboration between Kurosawa and Mifune, marking the end of one of cinema's most iconic director-actor partnerships.
Oh wow!
So I've got a factoid. More about that. Go ahead.
To me, that's a pretty good factoid. I didn't realize this was their last movie.
Yeah, so he was locked into this role, and I think filming delays caused him to miss out on some other projects. So yeah, he was a little. They kind of had a falling out after this because it cost him some income to carry out his commitment to Akira Kurosawa. The clinic was fully built. It was a lived-in set instead of partial sets. Kurosawa had the entire clinic complex constructed in detail, including interiors and surrounding spaces. I thought they were going to spend a hell of a lot more time in that clinic based on like the opening scene, and it didn't really seem like they did. But I don't know. But yeah, that allowed Kurosawa to move his camera through the spaces better, getting all that great cinematography. So let's get into the plot. So, like we had said, this is about a doctor who arrives in a poverty-stricken area. His name is Yasumoto. So when he gets there, how do I describe it? Like, he doesn't want to wear his uniform. He doesn't want to treat the patients. He just feels really uncomfortable being there, and it takes him kind of a while to get settled in. I thought it was pretty cool. They had I'll go ahead.
Let's say because he was expecting to be going straight to the shogunate, or maybe not the shogunate's not the right word, but I can't think of the word that I'm looking for currently. But
he wants Redbeard to kind of pay attention to him and pump his tires a little bit, and yeah, he's getting none of that.
Yeah, but he was
all taken aback by the fact that he requested this documentation on him.
Yeah, but he thought Yasumoto was also expecting to be working for the governor, the governor's head doctor or something, straight out of med school. So he was, like you said, very taken aback to be in this basically free clinic out in this very rural area.
Where basically everybody needs this free medical care, and they're just basically victims of the system. I like how Kurosawa uses that tilt at the beginning to introduce Yasumoto going into the area with that arch, and it's bookended at the very end of the movie whenever he makes his decision to stay with Redbeard under his tutelage and not move on, since being a part of this community really bonds him to being a doctor in a different way. How about that? How about the cinematography? And we always talk about it, don't we?
I mean, no, there's very, very good shots throughout this movie. There's one where there's this girl and like her face is blackened, but like her eyes are essentially glowing.
Oh yeah, there was several scenes where like it shows a female and like for some reason like the eyes are highlighted.
But yeah, no, I mean, there's Kurosawa knows how to shoot movies. Like that's all the scenes in like the flashback with the snow and everything always looked very good. Like that's even if like both of us, seem to have thought this movie was a little overly long and not his best, but the camera work and the cinematography is still top notch, and it's just something that you can't deny in like all of his movies is how well everything is framed.
There was one scene where like this couple is like walking up the stairs and they're like very small in one corner of the frame and you see this gorgeous lush like Japanese architecture, and there's these scenes where like there's these two characters like, and it's a very softly lit room and it's only a candle in there and they're having these intimate moments, and yeah, so many great shadows, and like whenever we do get pops of light, I remember in the flashback scene there's this couple talking and there's like this body of water behind them and it just man, it just flies off the screen and looks so stunning. And it's just the setting, but it helps tell the story even better and keep you more invested than you would be depending on your engagement with this medical drama. But as we progress the plot, Yasumoto refuses to engage. Like I had said, he doesn't even want to wear his uniform. Didn't strongly register. Oh, he feels beneath them. Yep, pretty much got through that. Although the movie does do a pretty good job at like showing like the pain and suffering. There was that scene with the guy with like stomach cancer. It's so crazy that they can like identify that just from like, kind of poking and prodding him. But I think at one point Redbeard's like, yeah, he didn't actually suffer, but we see him like basically like choking to death as he dies to kind of I guess subdue like I guess how sad that moment is. And I think in that part he's just like, man, these people are in poverty, the politicians do nothing to help it, we're just here to clean up the mess essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It really does show you just why clinics are important, and even in this movie, in this time period, they still were understaffed and underfunded, and lots of things that we see still going on today in a lot of places. So sad to think that it was happening then, that it was filmed and thought about in like the 60s, and here we are hundreds 60 years later from the movie and hundreds of years from the time period, and still things that are pertinent today.
For some reason, like I don't know, there's a lot of like dabbling with various patients, and it kind of felt repetitive at times. Like it kind of the story kind of spins its wheels at points in terms of like what it wants to focus on. One of the more interesting scenes is we find out about this like mantis woman who we come to find out like she has like this emotional turmoil, that she like was mistreated by men, and so basically she becomes like this temptress like killer kind of thing. Am I getting the mantis right?
Yeah. It's like I guess she would like a siren or something kind of would lure them in and then stab them with her hairpin, and so they have her like essentially in her own like little spot in the garden of the clinic where she's locked in and isn't able to hurt anybody except for one of the nurses lets her escape.
Yeah. And then like the doctor doesn't think he's going to be like I guess susceptible to this, but he totally gets taken in and then gets saved by Redbeard. So Yasumoto actually being helped by Redbeard and other members of the community throughout the story, it kind of helps humble him a little bit to his lofty expectations, and he starts to fit in a little better.
Yeah, because once
So,
he heals
mhm,
from that's when he starts wearing his uniform, right?
yep. I think the part that frustrated me, like I didn't understand why we needed this big flashback scene with this couple who there's like they're not of the same class, so like she would never like introduce him to her parents, and then like she disappears and have another man's baby, and then there's this earthquake and she dies, and then they follow up with this guy and he just wants to do right by the community. I just went on and like, well, why are we talking about this?
I mean, it didn't really fit in the movie, but I did find that part like that to me that whole story like of the patient, and he had, you know, getting more into his backstory and everything where, he marries the girl, but she was promised to someone else, and then the earthquake happens, and then she ends up with the guy that she was promised to and has their kid, and he just he's gonna let her go, but then she kills herself, and he puts her under the balcony, like under his workshop or whatever, buries her and makes a workshop, so he's always with her. Like, I thought that was very interesting, but it did kind of seem, I guess, a little out of place compared to everything else. I'm gonna be real, if the movie had more of that, where kind of it was the doctors are helping these patients to rest and they're kind of telling their stories or whatever, that could have been something. I think that could have been pretty interesting, if done properly. But
It was weird. I went back through the wiki and like Yasumoto, like I guess had a wife who ends up leaving him and getting together with another guy. So like this actual
yeah, he was
flashback story is like an echo of what actually happened with him. So there's like a connection there, but that was kind of
yeah,
hard
because
to grasp just from watching the movie.
he was like betrothed to this girl, and I guess she leaves him or whatever while he was in medical school, and he ends up, who he marries at the end is that girl's sister, and he gives permission because the girl's father was a doctor, and he was the one who was like vouching for him or whatever. He couldn't even see his own grandchild because of what his daughter did. He had to take a side with Yasumoto until Yasumoto acknowledged it and said it was okay, which was during the wedding. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Where I thought this movie finally kind of like found its footing when in the last hour and 15 minutes is whenever they saved this girl from a brothel. Basically, I think her father entrusted like his sister to care for her and, puts her in this terrible condition
and like
situation in a brothel.
this is the main storyline of the movie that you get into 2 hours into the movie. Like, you're already 2 hours in, and this is the main story plot. Like, if you
It
go to
almost feels tacked
Letterboxd,
on compared to the rest of it too.
yeah, if you go to Letterboxd and you read the description of this movie, this is the storyline they tell you about, and this is
Okay.
only in like the last hour of the movie.
Hmm. Well, when it gets good, because yeah, you're very taken by this girl. You get to see Redbeard be a badass whenever the madam doesn't
Oh
let
my
her
god,
leave.
dude, he fucks those guys up, like breaks their arms. Like, it was like, bro, y'all messing with Mifune. Like, he doesn't even need a sword. Like, what are you doing?
So yeah, that was probably the best part of the movie with them saving her at that point. Yasumoto ends up falling ill, and so they start having to care for him. And this is really where he starts to get humbled, and the girl takes care of them, and they form a bond. Although I saw on the wiki that she's like really young, so might be a little bit some off-putting nature to their age
I
gap,
don't
but
I think it's supposed to be. I don't think he cares for her like that. He cares for her like an older brother or a father figure, and she is young, and I guess maybe it's a first crush kind of thing to start with, but I don't think it's supposed to be they're in a relationship or like a
mm,
romantic relationship. At least that's not how I
well,
took it. Because if so,
at
that
first,
would be
right?
fucking weird.
All right. So, yeah, we get to see her kind of get nurtured in terms of like, so she ends up like staying with these women, and they think she's very odd and she's to herself, and they're trying to get her to break out of her shell. and he sees that there's kindness in her because like he's trying to be kind to her, but she overreacts, and so there's this kind of meet cute dynamic. And then there's this little boy that comes into it as well. And once she starts being accepted, like the fact that this little boy is stealing from them, makes him an outcast, and so she's drawn to help him, which leads into probably one of the biggest gut punches of the movie coming up here.
Oh, Jesus, right? I mean, it's pretty telegraphed. Like when the boy's like, "Hey, you don't have to feed me anymore. We're going to go far away, and everything magical is going to be okay." When his mom and dad couldn't feed him and his two older siblings, all of a sudden they now can afford to move somewhere where they're going to have everything taken care of. It's like, it sounds like they're all going to die. And
yeah, luckily I didn't catch on. Yeah, I did see like how she's like, "Oh, you're gonna go stay with like a rich family member or something." I was like, "Huh?" And then yeah, all of a sudden they get brought in and they did this. They drank poison together because it would be an easier way out. And thank goodness they revived the kid. And there's this emotional scene where all the women are screaming into this well. Kind of remind me of a Midsummer with like the group mourning dynamic that it explores.
this is also where you see the girl that he saves. This is her last scene. You get no more part of her storyline. She just is screaming into the well, and you have the wedding or whatever with Yasumoto.
So who does he marry? I thought he married.
He doesn't marry her. He marries his ex-fiance's younger sister.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
That makes it not nearly as weird as I thought earlier. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's part of the reason the girl gets mad at him at one point is that girl came in and was like talking to him or something, and she was like jealous because again she's 10, 12, whatever, and it's like having her first crush kind of thing.
All right. So quiet ending as Yasumoto, comes to really, appreciate Redbeard's tutelage. Redbeard thinks he's crazy that he want to keep sticking around with this curmudgeon doctor, but they bonded, and it's kind of a soft ending there at the 3-hour mark. But Redbeard, beautifully crafted, thematically rich with Kurosawa, exploring poverty and how medicine plays into it. Some struggles with cohesion at times. Just there's so much like going on with all these various patients. I even forgot about some of them, and we flash back and do a lot more on some than others. And like you said, like the plot synopsis highlights this really engaging story that only happens in the last bit of it. But a lot of good pieces. Like you got the epicness of like a long story here, and then you have like the more personal touch. You haven't seen Akira yet, right?
I haven't seen Ikaru.
Ikaru, yeah.
I believe that is one of the ones I have not seen. Yeah. It's one I need
that's
to.
probably that's my favorite of his like more like personal dramas. So I kind of felt like this was kind of in between. Like even Tedeschidan like follows poverty really well, and I actually remember liking Tedeschidan a lot better than this with how it like. It was kind of jumbled in terms of seeing all these different characters within this poverty-stricken area, but you had a little kid that kind of tied it all together. And I wonder if that was the same kid that from this movie, because they're not too far apart. With that being his first color.
But isn't Tedeschidan though more modern setting than the late Edo period? Like, isn't that a modern-ish setting?
I think more modern, maybe post World War II. I'd have to look back.
Yeah. Well, modern, especially for then when he was making the movies. So
right.
But Tedeschidan's probably one I would need to revisit because we did that in season 1. So you're talking about 2019 or so?
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah. We're still working in the office back then. But I thought this was not the best Kurosawa, but gosh, I'd probably have to watch Rashomon to see which one I actually like watching the least. But I like the ideas here. It's just it's a lot of it, and it kind of feels like it's not as narratively satisfying as what it should be, especially with it
Yeah, I
hooking
mean,
you there at the end.
if you cut this movie somewhere in the two to 2.5 hour range, and you tighten up the story and it focuses more, we get to the part with Otoyo sooner, I think this becomes a much better movie. Like, obviously it's very well shot, it's very well acted, it's very, very well directed, but yeah, there's just some story threads that I don't feel like get like pulled on enough, and some maybe get pulled too much. And like I said in my review, like, if this movie did not have the name Akira Kurosawa to it, it would not have a 4.4 on Letterboxd. That is, there's just a lot of people who are like, oh my God, it's a Kurosawa movie, it's the greatest thing ever. And while a lot of times that is an accurate statement, it is just not here. Like, I gave this a 3. Like, I would only recommend this to somebody who's probably like deep into Kurosawa, or it's like,
Kurosawa
hey, I've watched,
completionist.
yeah, hey, I've watched a lot of Kurosawa, or something like that. But I'm on the the minority, as most of the internet seems to really, really adore this movie. Like, it's the highest rated movie I've watched so far this year on Letterboxd at a 4.4 overall. So, but I gave it a 3. Just
3.5 for me. I think we're pretty much on the same page with both these movies. Pretty cool. All right, but the best time of the show, what's coming up next? So I think you went first last time, so I think I will go first this time.
All right,
and I think you're going to enjoy my selection.
I've been waiting all afternoon to hear this since you told me.
So this movie has Keanu Reeves in it. And it's like one of my favorite action movies. And Dennis Hopper's fucking crazy. There's a fucking
shit!
bomb on a
well,
bus.
I think I know what this is.
And we're gonna watch Speed.
All right. Oh,
dun, dun,
damn.
dun, 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 dun.
Oh man, maybe, like, as much as I love the reveal and being surprised, maybe we should talk about these more so we can get some themes going, get some good shit. Although I think the movies I would put with this, we've already done. We've done Point Break, right?
We have. So it was down to The Matrix, Curse of the Black Pearl, and Speed, and Speed's one of my favorites, so it had to be that.
Oh man, Curse of the Black Pearl. You want to talk about a movie I love? Holy shit. That's a good one. I'll have to keep that one in the back pocket. So I'm going to go
movies we actually love talking about rather than Edo period Japan medical dramas.
I mean, hey, it was a Kurosawa movie. We like talking about Kurosawa. It's not a bad movie. It's just not one of Kurosawa's masterpieces, in my opinion. So I'm going to go a completely different avenue than what you did with Speed. So this is a movie that I've had on a watch list for years, and this is going to be a much heavier subject matter. Maria Full of Grace.
Okay.
It's
Never heard of it.
Colombian movie about a pregnant girl that is a drug mule.
Oh God.
Yes.
Yeah, that's quite a bit more intense.
Yes. But so yeah, we'll have it'll be an interesting juxtaposition of movies there.
There you go, using big words. I'm so proud of you.
I mean, I have a pretty detailed vocabulary for someone who went to school in South Carolina.
Go Eagles. All right. So if you want to continue following us, if you're in this for the long haul, send us an email to the Average Joe's Movie Podcast at gmail.com, or comment on our videos. We'd love to talk movies with you.
We would definitely. And Justin, I just got a thing to ask you, brother. Why do we do this?
Because we love talking about movies. It's going to be fun next time with action and depression.
I mean, gotta switch it up a little bit. It's weird that I'm the one not picking that crazy 90s action movie. What can I say? I must have rubbed off on you some.
Gosh, I should have picked Lars von Trier's like Melancholia. We could have had a full depression fest.
Oh my God, you would be doing an episode by yourself.
We'd be doing it like in the summer, put it off as long as possible. All right, fam. Thanks for listening.
Later. Hell yeah. I jammed through that once we got started. I was a little worried because it took us a while to get to the movies.
All right.